Chapter 60, Pretending to be Deep in Love. Ava suppressed her displeasure and walked over to sit beside Adrian. After she sat down, Adrian told her to order. Ava clung to Adrian's arm, acting coy. "Adrian, I've never been here before. You order." "Is that so?" Adrian looked down at her. His face wore an ambiguous expression between a smile and a smirk. Ava's heart skipped a beat. Of course, she'd been here before, with Wesley Hale. "Of course." Ava released Adrian's arm and quickly stood up. "Adrian, I need to use the restroom. Take your time ordering." Without waiting for Adrian's response, Ava pushed open the sliding door and walked out. Adrian watched her retreating figure. A flash of loneliness crossed his eyes. Then he lowered his head to order. When Ava entered the restroom, she faintly heard crying coming from one of the stalls. She turned on the faucet and washed her hands while looking toward the stall where the crying was coming from. She was a bit curious. This wasn't a nightclub bathroom. Why would someone be crying here? She pulled out a paper towel from under the mirror and dried the water from her hands. Ava tossed the crumpled paper into the trash. After hesitating for a moment, she walked over. She knocked on the stall door. The crying inside stopped abruptly. She softened her voice. "Excuse me, do you need help?" Silence inside for a while. Just as Ava thought the person wouldn't respond, the stall door opened. What met her eyes was Mandy Cooper's face, flushed red from crying. Ava jumped in surprise. She quickly pulled Mandy out. "Mandy, why are you crying?" Ava's tone was full of concern. Mandy looked up through her tears. Seeing Ava's face full of care, she couldn't help but recall Ryan's words. "No matter how much you imitate Ava, you'll never be like her." At the last gathering when Ava was there, Ryan had been much more restrained. She'd belatedly realized that Ryan liked Ava. She'd fallen for Ryan at first sight during their blind date. She must have been possessed. After that day, she'd intentionally or unintentionally started imitating Ava's style of dress. She followed Ava's social media every day, like a rat hiding in a dark corner that could never see the light, trying to capture some of Ava's essence, hoping Ryan would pay more attention to her. After hearing Mandy's story, Ava was quite surprised. She hadn't expected that Mandy, who was so excellent academically, would come up with such a clumsy method to hold onto a man's heart. "I'm sorry, Ava. I just like him too much." Mandy's voice hitched with sobs. Ava used a tissue to wipe away the tears on Mandy's face. She looked at Mandy seriously. "Mandy, this method will never win a man's heart." Mandy laughed self-deprecatingly. "You think I'm stupid too, don't you?" She came from a wealthy family. Her looks weren't bad, and naturally she had plenty of suitors. Yet, she'd thrown herself headfirst into the abyss named Ryan Jong. She'd even lost herself a bit because of him. "Mandy, men are contemptible creatures. The more you cater to them, the less they'll cherish you." "Huh?" Mandy looked at Ava in surprise. She clearly hadn't expected to hear such words from Ava's mouth. In her impression, Ava had always been pure, gentle, sunny, and kind. Ava smiled with pursed lips. "Do you remember how we met that first year I went abroad to study?" Mandy paused. What did this have to do with her and Ryan? "You lost your necklace. You spent a fortune looking for it in the international student circle." That necklace had been very valuable, priceless on the market. Even someone from a wealthy family like Mandy couldn't find channels to buy that necklace, so she remembered it vividly. Because of that necklace, Ava had treated her to dinner. Later, they'd gradually become familiar. If that necklace had only cost $10,000 or $20,000, or even if it was a free promotional gift. Ava paused, then said softly, "Would I have spent so much money looking for it? I probably would have just thought, if it's lost, it's lost. It wasn't worth much anyway." Ava's words hit like a hammer. Mandy stood frozen in place. "Mandy, Ryan doesn't necessarily really like me. He just never had me. So he infinitely magnifies that little bit of interest." In her 6 years abroad, Ryan had never once come to see her. Ryan's feelings for her were at most a case of, what you can't have always seems better. If you said he was deeply in love with her, she didn't buy it. No one would leave someone they liked abroad for 6 years without visiting even once. Those men who claimed to like her were pretending to be devoted while waking up in different women's beds. Just a common male tactic. Pretending to be deep in love.